What can your brand and business learn from the humble strawberry and the Wimbledon tennis tournament? Well, let's find out. Hi, my name is Ken Hughes. Welcome back. I want to talk about Wimbledon, the tennis tournament. I was watching the men's singles match between Alcaraz, the Spanish player, and Sinner's, the Italian, last weekend. And I started to reflect on why. I don't really watch many sporting events, and certainly I'm not a big tennis fan, but I do tend to get sucked into Wimbledon every year, and I thought, well, why is that? And I thought it's because, well, just like branding and business, any different product, if you're strong in differentiation, it matters. And you do tend to kind of have a broader reach from a customer perspective. And Wimbledon is a very different tennis tournament. And functionally, yes, it's played on grass that differentiated from other tournaments. But ultimately, the pristine whites, the ritual, the fashion iconography, the celebrities, the royal box, the strawberries, the Pims, the tea gardens, the whole thing is very experiential. That's really what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the difference between going beyond core product, whatever your core product, your core service is, and really looking to make it stronger from an emotional loyalty point of view, from a tribal fandom point of view. You have to really do things around the edges of the core product that actually sometimes become more important than the product itself. Because a lot of people who go to Wimbledon don't necessarily go just for the tennis, they go for the experience, the occasion, the ritual, and all the traditions. And so I want to talk about three things today that I think your brand and your business can learn from the game of tennis and from Wimbledon. The first one is the power of the serve. And so every tennis game, every point starts with that serve. And if you serve well, you set up the game. In fact, that men's final, Alcaraz, that Spanish player who was the 2 times Wimbledon champion, going for his third, going for his hat trick, he lost it. One of the reasons was because 52% of his first serves went in, but Sinner's got 63% of his first serves in, and that first serve is pretty important. In fact, the speed of that serve, a new record was set this year in Wimbledon by Giovanni, a French player, only 22, who served a 246-kilometer rocket. Imagine being hit by that. And so from a brand and business point of view, it's the same. That first serve you have, that first customer interaction, that first impression that you have really dictates potentially the success of the customer engagement going on. And that's really true of the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha generations behind other consumer generations. They really do not tolerate brand failure. And if anything goes wrong in the beginning of a customer journey, they are out, they are checked out, they're gone. And while previous generations like boomers and Gen X and maybe some millennials, they grew up in the buffering generation. We waited for things. We kind of tolerated maybe a bit of grit in the customer journey. Not the younger generation of consumers. And so really you have one shot to get it right, one ace to serve. And so the learning from this is really you should look at your customer journey, look at every single touch point of the customer journey you have, and think about if this is the first interaction a customer would have with us, what does this look like? And if that's your social media site, if it's your website, if it's your any of the marketing campaigns you do, any product delivery piece, is this good enough and is it strong enough? Is it the 246-kilometer serve? And I think that's what we need to do. Every touch point counts, but the first impressions really, really do. So step forward strongly. That's the first thing. The second one in tennis is the rally. And so the power of the dance of that rally that you would have during play. And again, in Wimbledon this year, the record is 45 shots interchanged. It's the longest rally ever to have happened in Wimbledon. 2019 record set by Djokovic. And in fact, this year, the longest rally was 35 shots, also involving Djokovic. Now, when you're playing tennis and you're watching that rally, 6 shots is kind of the average rally in a tennis match. Once it goes beyond 10, people kind of start to lean forward. Once it goes beyond 15, people are at the edges of their seats. Once it goes beyond 20, people are biting their nails. It's really exciting. So you imagine a 35, 45 shot rally is really exciting. Now, from a customer point of view, there's a certain dance in that tennis rally. And it's not just shots passing to and fro the net. It's a intricate dance between the two players. It's also predictive. You're trying to guess where the player should be. It's very strategic. You're trying to place the ball away from where the next player is going to be. It's responsive. It's personalized based on the shot that you just received. And I think from a business point of view, we need to get to that. Too many companies, particularly insurance and utility companies, just serve aces. They serve one shot once a year, annual return, or your premium is due, they send you a communication, and they don't talk to you ever again. And they recruit you as a customer, and then they focus on getting new customers, and they forget about you. And as a business, you have to accept that there's a dance here between you and the customer, and it should be a continuous dance. It should be a rally. And there should be continuous to and fro. And if you step out of that as a business, you've taken their money, you've delivered a service, and you think you're done, that's not very exciting from a customer perspective. And so you have to ensure that there's some kind of dance, there's a personalized communication, there's predictive, there's responsive, and all those things are really, really important for successful brands and business if you want to derive emotional loyalty and tribal fandom. So think about that. Think about that rally that perhaps you should be having with your customer, an extended rally and not just single shots. And the third thing I want to talk about is that every touch point counts. And in Wimbledon, when you look at why the tournament is so successful internationally, globally, people tune in all over the world for this unique tournament. Why? Again, it's because they've looked at every single touch point. I mean, Martin Falconer, he is the head gardener for Wimbledon. He looks after the 42-acre site all year. He has 18 full-time gardeners, 13 seasonal gardeners, and the place looks amazing. The flowers, the hedgerows, it's all pristine to give that English country garden traditional feel. There's 200,000 strawberries, punnets of strawberries sold during the tournament. Pims, the tea gardens, the beautiful parasols everywhere, the hill where everyone watches, the big screen if they can't get into centre court, the fashion, the celebrities, as I said, the royal box, the royals are there, people dress up in formal attire to go. And the point is here, Wimbledon has pushed past product. It's pushed past tennis and just the game of tennis, the functional, the transactional, and it stepped into the emotional space, the tribal belonging space, the ritual space, the occasion, the feeling, the experience. And that's what you need to do with your brand too. You need to have a think about, well, how can we become an experience? How can we become a destination? How can we become an occasion, a ritual? And if you're doing all those things, what you're doing is you're setting up barriers to entry in your industry and your product, and you're pushing past core product, core service, because everybody can copy your product. Everybody can copy your service, really. It's kind of commoditized, and particularly coming into AI, that would really be a huge commoditization of product and service. So the only things you're going to have left to differentiate yourself is the stuff around the edges, the sparkly stuff, the occasion, the sense of excitement, anticipation, and that's what Wimbledon does really, really well. So those three things, strong serve, strong first impression, an interactive dance between you and the customer from a rally point of view, and look at every touch point you're bringing to life from an occasion experiential point of view. If you do all those three things, then you will set up your brand of business to be the next tennis champion. Going to the next board meeting in whites holding strawberries and a glass of Pims, well, that's optional. Until next time, I'm Ken Hughes.